memory of my Brianna, I will collect all his palettes that he has.
I would love to put you on the painted PR list for life. It would mean a lot to me. And I saw in your video that you said you haven't even dipped into your basic canvas palette because you don't wear makeup anymore because of her. And I'm gonna send you two. I am gonna send you two.
Lashify needs to calm down with their racist comments over lash clusters. They're suing YouCoolMe and other lash companies for selling lash clusters because Lashify has this patented, but it's the racism and the homophobia. You think Chinese dudes don't wear lashes are designing these? Seriously?
Supergoop claims that Five Below has adopted trade dress and branding for a line of SPF products that is confusingly similar to its own product in an attempt to piggyback off nearly 2 decades of what they're calling brand goodwill. Hello, my friend. Welcome back to What's Up in Makeup, where we talk about everything that happened across the beauty industry all in one place. This is a weekly show, so if you would like to stay up to date on the news, this is the place to get everything, because I've done all the work for you so you don't have to, so you know everything that's happening right now. And the big thing that happened in beauty influencer land this past week was James Charles releasing a new eyeshadow palette. Now, I don't typically talk about when James Charles's brand Painted launches a new product because, to be honest, I don't like him. I'm just being honest. I do not like the man. He has presented himself to be an absolutely awful human being. I did a docu-series chronicling James Charles's rise and basically all of the crappy things that he's done over the years. It was 5 parts and cumulatively it ended up being about 8 hours and 45 minutes. That series ended with him sending naked pictures of himself to minors. But since then, he's been in even more scandals, including the scandal that happened recently with Kayla Malik, who was an acquaintance of his. They had done collaborations together. She had an extremely abusive boyfriend, terribly abusive relationships. And when they broke up and Kayla told James that she was in an abusive relationship with this guy, James decided he was going to hook up with him and then fly him out to Los Angeles. I mean, it was not a good situation. That was the most recent drama that happened. So needless to say, long story short, way too late. I don't talk about James very often, but I wanted to talk about this launch because there were a few things that happened surrounding the launch that I thought were newsworthy to the general public. I also thought you might find it interesting because it does stretch back to 2018 when James released his eyeshadow palette with Morphe. It was a huge, huge launch. It was gigantic. I mean, I just can't even, well, the palette was gigantic, but also the launch was huge in our space. And basically what developed out of that was, of course, James was paid some money, but then Morphe ended up owing him, he claims, about $2 million. And because Morphe declared bankruptcy, that was flushed and he will most likely never see that money. So needless to say, James is a bit bitter about that. And that's where this new palette launch comes in, because it is a rainbow palette similar to the palette that he launched with Morphe. So it's kind of almost a stick it to ya to Morphe and the lost money. For the promo for this eyeshadow palette, James says he spent $100,000 on the commercial, and I do want to show it to you, but I know a lot of you just listen to What's Up in Makeup, so I'm going to give you a narration over top of what's happening in case you're just listening. Let's go ahead and watch it together. So it starts in a museum, and James's Morphe palette is in a glass case on a pedestal. The music from his Morphe launch is playing softly, and as the camera pans back, we see replicas of famous works of art on the walls around the pedestal, and then we hear breaking glass. In front of these security lasers that you might see in a Mission Impossible movie, you see a burglar sliding down a cord coming from the ceiling. The music then switches to like this dramatic heist music as the burglar looks at the art on the walls. He then does dramatic flips over the security lasers in order to reach the paintings. And then with the painted rainbow palette in hand, he starts painting rainbow eye looks on the women in the different paintings. We have the Mona Lisa, the girl with the pearl earring, American Gothic, And then finally, the birth of Venus. He then flips back over to the James Charles Morphe palette, gently caresses the glass, and then he taps on it a few times. This was really lovingly taps on this glass. And then the burglar pulls out a hammer and smashes the top of the glass, removes the Morphe palette from the stand, tosses it aside, and replaces it with the new painted palette. So the camera then cuts back to the face of the robber. You can now see the rainbow eye look behind the mask. The robber removes the mask, and we can now see, of course, it's James Charles. Big reveal. Da 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 da. I didn't see that coming. Behind him, a carabiner on a rope drops down, and he winks at the camera, grabs the rope, attaches it to his belt, and he's pulled up out of the frame. The words "painted," "artistry canvas," "reveal Friday" appear on the screen as we hear walkie-talkie static and security yelling, "Hey, grab him quick!" And in the frames, the Mona Lisa is giggling, and the couple in the American Gothic painting are making kissy faces at each other, and that's it. That's the commercial. So the question is here now, I have a couple questions. The first one is, do you think this was worth $100,000? And then the second one is, did you like the commercial? Did you think it was a good commercial? I will tell you what I think, because this is my show and that's what I do. I tell you what I think. I honestly can see how this cost $100,000. I know there's a lot of discourse about there's no way he got ripped off. There's no way this cost $100,000. But I can really see that between, hiring the actors and the digital, stuff that they're doing with the paintings, and then just renting that museum space, having the props and, the lighting and the sound mixing and the editing. And there's a lot that goes into creating something like this, and all of that costs money. So I personally, even though I've never shot a commercial like this, obviously, I can see how it could have cost $100,000. As far as liking the commercial, did I like the commercial? I mean, I don't like James Charles, so there's going to be a bias there. He can do no right in my eyes. So no matter what he makes, to be fair, I'm not going to like it. But also, to be fair, it has a clear message. It is a creative idea. Is it arrogant? Yeah. I mean, it's an arrogant, self-centered commercial, but it is also his brand. And I get it. I get why it's arrogant. It's on brand. His fans like him for being arrogant, so it makes sense. But this is where the story gets a little more interesting. There's two parts I want to talk to you about. The first one that happened was when James went on a huge rant about this commercial. And honestly, the rant was kind of scary to me. The level of anger was it was really, really intense. Here's what happened. So apparently the music that was used, the heist music that was used, was something that James had purchased the rights to use for the commercial, right? But with TikTok, they have this rule where you have to have, if you're going to play music for a long period of time, it has to be in the TikTok library. And because the music was longer than a minute and it wasn't in the TikTok library, TikTok flagged it and wouldn't play the music. So James was pissed. He was really, really pissed. I'm just going to play a very small clip of it so you can get the vibe.
TikTok counter days. I'm crashing the out right now. I'm so goddamn frustrated. For anybody that doesn't know, I spent $100,000 on the video that I posted earlier today. Unfortunately, it's deleted. I had to take it down because it got muted. Even though I paid for the licensing. I own the stupid spy music that we use. And now I had to delete it and re-upload it with epic news music. Epic news music, because that was all that's available in the TikTok commercial library.
I totally understand why he was upset. If I would feel very angry as well, but I think that the tone just hit me wrong. Again, that could be just my bias, but it just felt scary almost how angry he was. But I don't know, maybe I just don't get it. It's totally possible. James replaces the music with some news music that he's not happy with, but it ends up back on TikTok and gets the normal amount of views. After that, he uploaded an explainer style video to his YouTube channel, which is what he did with the Morphe palette as well, you know, like swatches and, you know, the use of the palette, all that kind of stuff. But what I found very different about this versus previous launches is something that I have given James shit about so many times, like loudly given him about, and it's the use of the FDA not approved pigments for eye use. And of course, you know, tons of makeup companies use these pigments, but the way James explains it is always wrong.
Now, I do want to touch on the matte shades and some of these formulas behind them because most of the mattes in this palette are considered pressed pigments and not typical eyeshadows. Now, what does that mean? I didn't know until very recently when I was formulating this with Morphe, but now I do, so I want to share it with you guys. The ingredients in pressed pigments are just slightly different than eyeshadows, and they are actually exactly what their name says. It is literally just the actual color pigment pressed right into a pan ready for you to use, whereas an eyeshadow has a lot of other stuff mixed in it as well to make it perform really beautifully.
If you look at the 2 ingredient lists for James's pressed pigments and the ones that are called eyeshadows, you'll see the ingredient lists are almost the same. They're almost exactly the same. Now, we don't know what the concentrations are of pigment versus these other ingredients. I would assume that the pigments have more pigment in them than the regular eyeshadows, but we just don't know because they aren't required to give that information. No cosmetic brand is required to give that information. So we don't know, but just to say that it's just pressed pigment without other ingredients, and then you look at the ingredient list and see that there's lots of other ingredients, that's just straight, it's not true. It's always misleading the way he has labeled his packaging, all the way to the painted eye paints was not FDA compliant. So let us get into what you came for, which is learning about Painted, James Charles's new makeup brand, and how it is currently, as of the time I'm filming, violating FDA regulations. The pigment paints that he has out, it does not say that these are not intended for the immediate eye area. He clearly shows the products on the immediate eye area in the advertising for the products. You may not use a color additive in the area of the eye unless the regulation for that additive specifically permits such use. My final thoughts on this is I'm still shocked that James didn't put that disclaimer. I am very surprised. I thought we had been there, done that, and I didn't think that this would be an issue. I mean, in the end, so many companies use these pigments, it's really not that big of a deal. But the fact that he didn't label the packaging in an FDA compliant way, that was what I had called out last time. But this time, James got it right.
As I'm taking off these shades and getting ready to show you guys the final 8, I do want to transparently show you and give you the disclaimer that some of these colors do slightly stain, okay? And that is because our Painted Artistry canvas contains pressed pigments. Now, so did the original Morphe palette, so does the basic canvas, so there's nothing different about any of these shades or ingredients. Basically, all that means is that in order to get these colors as bright and pigmented as we want them to be, some of the ingredients here are not natural and therefore can stain, which the FDA deems as not safe for use on the eye area. Obviously, as a makeup artist and a longtime beauty lover, I'm sure a lot of your products and a lot of your palettes contain pigments like this. It is nothing to be scared of, but it is definitely something that you need to be aware of as a beauty consumer. So that's why I'm letting you know right here, right now in this YouTube video. And also it is clearly labeled right here on the back of the palette.
And I want to give credit where credit is due, because when I give somebody shit about something, no matter how much I don't like them, I want to make sure that I acknowledge when a correction has been made. So he explains pigments for the real meaning of the pressed pigments. And then he talks about the FDA disclosure and talks about that it is on the packaging. So credit where credit is due, he has fixed that, and I was very happy to see that that had been fixed. But then comes the second controversy, and honestly, I'm gonna be 100%, I do see both sides on this, and I'm kind of torn, so I'm really curious what you think about this. Instead of explaining what happened, I'm just gonna show you the TikTok and let you feel the feels that you're gonna feel.
Esta caja de maquillaje, mira, de sombras.
You want right?
Ahí está, niña. My Brianna was obsessed with James Charles. When I got her this palette, oh my god, she went crazy. And then he came out with this one after my Brianna was gone. And of course I had to get my hands on it. And now he has a new one. In memory of my Brianna, I will collect all his palettes that he has. Anything he comes out with I will get it.
I don't really know what I can say in response back to a video like this, but I do want to try to come up with something for Brianna. First of all, Mom, thank you for tagging me in this. I can't imagine how hard it must be for you and your family to deal with her loss every single day. Although she's no longer here, it does mean so much to me to know that while she was, my silly, stupid videos and eyeshadow palette made her happy and put a smile on her face. That really is what it's all about. And the fact that you're still purchasing the makeup that I come out with and supporting Painted in her memory is such a beautiful thing, but I'm not gonna let you do that anymore. We did just come out with our new artistry canvas, and I'm so glad that you want to get it, and I hope that you have not already, because I would love to put you on the Painted PR list for life. It would mean a lot to me, and I saw in your video that you said you haven't even dipped into your basic canvas palette because you don't wear makeup anymore because of her, and I'm gonna send you two. I am gonna send you two, and if you don't end up using it, if you give it to a friend, it's totally fine, but I want to send you two so you can keep one for Brianna and one for yourself because you deserve it, and I think it would make her really happy looking down on you from heaven if, you know, you were doing your makeup like she would have wanted back when she was here. I know you loved her so much, and I want you to know that I love her so much too, regardless of her being here on Earth with us or not. So thank you for watching. Thank you for being an incredible mama, and I'm going to reach out to you to get your details, so please check your messages from me.
Of course, his comments are mostly his fans, so a lot of them are praising him for this action, you know, how generous it was of him to do this. But then there's a handful of comments that are not happy with this and are accusing him of being exploitative. Is that the right word? Exploiting the situation. So for example, there's a user named Arab Princess AP. She wrote, quote, "Using her daughter's loss to advertise your new palette is the ultimate final boss red flag," to which James replied, "I'm literally responding back to her video about the palette." After James uploaded this video, there are quite a few videos over on the mom's TikTok account, just really happy and excited that James is doing what he's doing. She, to be extremely clear, she is very happy with James's actions in this situation. The mom that is involved, the mom of the daughter that passed away. And I think that's really important to note.
Mommy. Oh my god, we're right here. We just got to my Brianna, and I already know she saw this video. All the way from heaven, she saw it. Mommy, we are on the PR list for life. For life! Oh my god, Mommy. How do you feel? Oh my god. I woke up this morning and I'm like, pinch me. Let me look in the videos. Is this for real? Did this really happen, or we were dreaming? But it happened, Mommy. It happened.
However, knowing what we know about James Charles and knowing this pattern of behavior that has been a thing since he started YouTube, this pattern of using people, this pattern of being extremely self-centered, that nothing seems to be altruistic in James Charles's life. He doesn't seem to do anything unless there is a personal benefit to him. This doesn't feel any different to me. There are people, and I'm not going to say one way or another, you know, whether it's real or not, but there are people accusing James in the comments of having fake tears, of recreating the moment, of just the whole emotion of it being fake, and of him just using this as promotion for the eyeshadow palette, of using a young girl, a young fan's death to sell products. And as I've heard many times in my adult life, the best good deeds are typically done in private with no expectation of anything in return. And who am I to say what James's motivations are? All I can look at is patterns of behavior, and his patterns of behavior point to this is only self-serving for James. But in the end, does it matter? If the mom is happy, if she's thrilled about this, does it matter if James is doing this for selfish reasons? You are going to have to decide what you think. I mean, in the end, for me, it's not really consequential because, again, James Charles hater for life, so it's not really going to make any difference to me. But I would love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below. How do you feel about this? Let me know because I'm super curious to read it. So back in March, we covered some drama surrounding the false lash company called Lashify and their owner. Her name is Sahara Lottie. Sahara is well known in beauty circles as being absolutely vicious when protecting the patents that she has filed for and gained for Lashify. The way that Lashify is different than just regular false lashes is that they are supposed to be more like lash extensions that you can do for yourself at home. They're longer lasting. They're applied underneath the natural lash. There's special applicators, special glue, all these different things that she has patented. And last time we talked about this, we talked about her legal team and how they have won multiple cases. Her legal team is called Fenwick Law. They secured a major win from a Texas jury that awarded Lashify $30.5 million in lost profits plus a 30% royalty rate after finding that the Chinese company, it's called World Beauty, willfully infringed on 3 of their patents. In addition to the World Beauty win, Lashify also claimed a $30 million victory over Lilac Street for allegedly selling copy products. I guess you can't really say allegedly at this point because Lashify won. So I guess you could say for selling those copy products. Sahara told Beauty Matter that brands are welcome to license her technology, but if they don't and they produce anything similar to her product, she is not shy about suing them. They even have a form on their website where if you spot something that looks like a copy of Lashify products, you can submit it in a form and let them know about it. Another story we talked about last time was a company called Urban Dolls LLC, and they actually proved in court that Lashify was claiming patents that they didn't actually have and that they said they invented a product that they didn't invent. But what the courts ended up saying about that is like, okay, so they lied. How did that hurt you? And that's where the lawsuit fell down, where Urban Dolls was like, well, they lied. And like, well, how did it hurt you? I'm like, didn't really hurt them, so Lashify saw no consequences for those lies. And most likely because of that legal fight, Urban Dolls ended up going out of business in 2024. And when it comes to Sahara herself, she has a reputation for just being an overall nasty human being. She had a big conflict with Manny MUA back in the day where she said some absolutely awful things about him that I feel were extremely homophobic.
Honestly, I don't know what he thought they were. But I have to remember, at the end of the day, he can have all the makeup he wants, but he's still a dude. He's still a dude, man. Manny, you still a dude, bro.
She did that because Manny gave a negative review of her product. That all came up when back in the spring, Sahara went after Bethany Frankel, who, oh my gosh. So Bethany got some PR from this company called Pro Lash. She tried it, she liked it, she reviewed it. And Sahara contacted Bethany and threatened to sue her for the positive review of a Pro Lash because Lashify was currently suing them. By the way, that Pro Lash lawsuit is still going on. They actually have a Zoom hearing coming up next week on July 2nd. So I'm going to keep my eye on it and see what happens with that. But that is currently still ongoing. So that is the road so far. Now we need to talk about what's happening right now because this is blowing up all over TikTok. Sahara is being criticized again, but this time for comments against Chinese people. There is a TikTok user named Jennifer Wynn who did a fantastic job breaking this down and presenting her perspective on it. So I'm just going to play Jennifer's TikTok for you so she can explain.
Lashify needs to calm down with the racist comments over lash clusters. They're suing You Cool Me and other lash companies for selling lash clusters because Lashify has this patented, but it's the racism and the homophobia. Sure, you have this patented, but people have been cutting lash strips into clusters and also applying that under lashes. People have been doing that for years. But your comments, we literally created the first underlash with spikes. OMG, we've been here since 2017. You think Chinese dudes don't wear lashes are designing these? Seriously? Here's another one. Let's not act like we didn't get a patent in 2016. This wasn't a thing. Stop trying to give credit to Chinese people for something an American immigrant invented. We are tired of it. Okay, this one. We created the first manga style lash. The statement stands 100% true. She, as in the CEO, is the trendsetter in lashes that you all think imaginary people in Asia created. Y'all, where did manga come from? Asia. And I saw another creator post that Lashify gets their lashes supplied from China. Their warehouse is in China. Where's China? Asia. Here's another one. Hi losers. Keep trying to sell a patented product on Instagram that you get from Alibaba. Watch your account go bye-bye, including your bank account. Lashify will sue you in the UK courts. Make no mistake. Shameful. I will always stand by Yukumi lashes. I literally have them on right now. I'm about to put on a new set later. I love their products so much. I don't want them to go away. The style is so much nicer than whatever Lashify is selling. But $125 for lashes is insane. Which is the way they're handling all of this is insane. It's so unprofessional. It's racist. It's homophobic. I think Yukumi is under a new name called Float Wing now. I'm running low on my 14, so I need a refill. I love you guys. Y'all got the best glue ever.
Just to back that up a little bit, I found this really interesting. So right before I wrapped up the script, I was checking out the Lashify website and I found a page that I hadn't seen before. I don't know if it was there before, but I see it now. So I wanted to share it with you because I feel like it's relevant to this part of the story. It is a section that is called counterfeits, and I'm going to show it to you. And essentially what it is that it's a place where Lashify is giving more information about their battle against patent infringement. And there's these giant pictures of the owners of the companies that she's suing, both Asian men. But it's important to note that Kiss Lashes, which is the first company she talks about, that is not a Chinese-owned brand. That is an American brand started by an American. Kiss Lashes and it was first Kiss Nails, was founded in Queens, New York. So just because he is of not Chinese but Korean descent, I feel like it's a weird thing to make a page basically just saying, look at these Asian people and how they are trying to hurt me. It's just the tone is off. I do want to clarify, though, and make sure you know that Sahara does not say that John is Chinese. She doesn't say that Kiss is a Chinese company. All she talks about is that Kiss is manufacturing their products in China. But the way that it's broken down, if you're just reading this with kind of a casual lens, it looks like it's attacking Chinese people, which it just gives me the icks. The whole page just gives me this, like how big these photos are. Like, why are they so big? It's just weird. Now back to Jennifer's analysis of what's going on with Sahara on TikTok. Now, I could not find the You Cool Me lawsuit. Usually I can find these things pretty easily. Could not find it, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I just couldn't find it. So I have some theories of what's actually going on, which may be right and may not be right. It's just kind of a theory connecting some dots. For this next part, please excuse my Chinese if my pronunciation isn't very good. I am going to try my best to pronounce the parent company of You Cool Me because this is very, very important. The parent company is called Qingdao Xuanshui Network Technology Company Limited. And thanks to Rich Lux for the heads up on that this next piece was happening. As of this past week, You Cool Me is gone. They no longer exist as a company here in the US. Their website has been shut down. They're not sold on Amazon anymore. They're not sold on TikTok Shop anymore. They're just gone. And when I tell you TikTok fans are mad about this, they are pissed off because apparently the lash glue by You Cool Me was fantastic. And I found another very interesting perspective from a TikToker named Fiona. I want to play it for you.
I understand what Lashify was trying to do, but if it were me, I would have offered a subsection of Lashify that would appeal to the You Cool Me fan base. Lashify customers and You Cool Me customers are two totally different groups of people, okay? If You Cool Me is TikTok, Lashify is Facebook. Lashify actually has like a cult following on Facebook. So if we're thinking about a person who is only on Facebook, who are we thinking about? That is a older group of people. That is a more well-established group of people. They have money to spend on those control kits. Now, TikTok is mostly Gen Z looking for a deal. They were never gonna buy a Lashify control kit. And I understand what Lashify was trying to do. Like, I get it, but you can't use the same marketing strategy that you use on Facebook on TikTok. And you don't always have to be the face of the company. You could have hired, like these other companies that do really well on TikTok, they hire people for the marketing because they don't know how to market to people on TikTok. I think the Lashify launch on TikTok could have been really successful. They could have been successful. They could have offered a line that was similar to what You Cool Me offered at that price point. Like, no, you don't have to have the same quality of lashes, because that's why they're saying they cost more, the quality, but you would have reached the market that would buy those lashes. I mean, that's just me. I don't know.
As I was researching for this, it kept bugging me. Like, where is this lawsuit? Why can't I find it? So I kept digging because Sahara herself says that she sued You Cool Me.
What's happening right now is true. I did, in fact, I mean, not me personally, but our legal team did, in fact, sue You Cool Me and take them off the market because they were infringing on all of our technology.
So in my digging, I started connecting some dots. And this is, to be clear, a theory. Could be wrong. It is just a theory based on what I know so far. And I think it's pretty interesting. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the story, Lashify sued and won a patent case against a Chinese company called World Beauty. Well, a brand new lawsuit was filed against World Beauty by Lashify because Lashify is claiming that World Beauty is still selling infringing products, even though the court has told them to stop. I looked more into World Beauty. I went to their website, and guess where they operate out of? Qingdao, China. Guess who else operates out of Qingdao, China? You Cool Me. And they shut down operations on the same day that Lashify filed that new lawsuit. So it seems that there's a possible connection between World Beauty possibly as a supplier to the You Cool Me lashes, which is why the website disappeared. Again, just a theory. As far as my personal opinion goes, I'm not a fan of Sahara. I think that she has presented herself to be an absolutely awful human being. I think that the way she talks to people is terrible. The way she treats people is terrible. But in that same vein, if she has filed a patent and the law has said that she is valid in protecting those patents and she wins, I trust that because I have seen so many lawsuits between trademarks and patents that do not go through because they're not valid, but these went through. And I trust that the court systems, from what I've seen, they seem to do a pretty good job overall of being pretty critical as far as when something's infringing and when it isn't. So even though I don't like her, sometimes people that are not likable are also right. But I also really appreciate Fiona's perspective where she was talking about that Lashify's price point is just outrageous. And I feel like it would be in Lashify's best interest to either license out their technology for a lower cost option or to create it themselves because she's just looking like an asshole for shutting down these companies that people can actually afford when her products are so expensive. And it's just business. Like, I get it and everything, but I do feel like there's gotta be a way for there to be a lower cost option of Lashify to be made if all of these other companies were able to do it and she's fighting to get them shut down. I don't understand why she can't do the exact same thing, but having the money go to her rather than these people that are infringing on her patents. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just feels like tolerate. And in the end, it really does feel like it's the customers that are losing out in all of this. But again, would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. Dupes are under attack again this week. This week it is Supergoop versus Five Below. It is a discount retailer. According to the fashion law, the complaint was filed with the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York on June 25th. And Supergoop claims that Five Below has adopted trade dress and branding for a line of SPF products that is confusingly similar to its own product in an attempt to piggyback off nearly 2 decades of what they're calling brand goodwill. Supergoop cites the strength and fame of its brand, noting that it has used its logo and the trade dress since 2005, achieved over $250 million in sales in just 2022 alone, and maintains partnerships with companies like Sephora, Nordstrom, Amazon, and other retailers. So let me know what you think. Here we go. Let's look at the products. Here's Supergoop. Probably familiar with these. I've owned them myself. Lots of fantastic products, sunscreen specific to Supergoop. They're very well loved, have a great reputation. Now, here are Five Below's Supergirl products. So take a good look, form your opinion. What do you think? It's obviously meant to be a dupe, but would people be confused? That's the big question. Would somebody purchase the Supergirl products thinking they were Supergoop? Okay, so now let's look at precedent. Let's look at the Benefit and e.l.f. roller lash versus lash and roll situation. And let's remember that this was found in favor of e.l.f. Cosmetics, that it wasn't close enough. Benefit couldn't prove brand confusion. Now let's look at the ongoing, actually it's pretty brand new lawsuit between Glow Recipe and Emco Beauty. Now this one, I personally think Glow Recipe has a good case here because I personally would be confused by the dupe of their Watermelon Glow product. But that's just my opinion. This one is far from being over. Let's go back to the Supergoop and Supergirl products. What do you think? I personally feel like it's kind of in the middle. I feel like it's a little more similar than the e.l.f. product, but a little less similar than the Glow Recipe. So honestly, I hate to say this, but I don't think that Supergoop's going to win. That is my prediction. I feel like it's not close enough. That this looks like a cheap knockoff of the Supergoop products. I don't feel like it looks exactly like a Supergoop product. I would not be confused. But I do think the font that they're using for the word Supergirl, the fact that it's Supergirl versus Supergoop, it's clearly a dupe. I don't know. I want to know what you think on this one because it's a lot of times we'll disagree on this. I don't think that Supergoop's going to win. What do you think? We've been following this next story for a while, and I always tell you, I'll tell you what happens next. This is what's happening next with Beautycounter. They have officially returned as of June 25th as just the word counter. And the big question for me from the beginning of this is, will Counter be an MLM? Will it have multi-levels to its earning structure for people that sell the stuff, or will it be single level affiliate? I have zero issues with single level affiliate because it doesn't feed off of people below you. It is just based on your own sales. The multi-level affiliate, I do have a big problem with multi-level marketing in general because the people at the bottom of that pyramid usually end up getting screwed, and the people at the top are just sitting pretty, earning money off of all the hard work of the people below them that are not making anything. And it's basically just it feels like a Vecna soul-sucking situation. It feels very predatory to me. It feels like a taking advantage. It feels like there are a lot of people losing with very, very few people, a fraction of the top percent of people actually doing well. So let's talk about what's happening over at Counter. So they have relaunched, they have rebranded. There are 19 products now. They were Beautycounter products. They are now Counter products. They have rebranded the packaging to this shiny, updated outer packaging that kind of to me looks like Rare Beauty and Ole Henriksen had a baby. That's what it looks like. That's a weird analogy. I'm talking about the brands, not the people, just to be clear, because that would be really weird. And make absolutely no sense considering Ole Henriksen is very, very gay. Anyway, stop, Jen. Tangents. Knock it off. Okay, let's go back to Beautycounter. gosh. So they're still using their clean beauty never list, which I hate with my entire soul because it's based in a lot of fear mongering. Let's look at the new never list and just kind of make sure we're all on the same page on what it is. Part of the problem with this is it includes ingredients that are not approved for being in cosmetics in the United States. Things like triclosan, triclocarbon, and hydroquinone. Hydroquinone is prescription only. You absolutely cannot sell it in over-the-counter products like Counter is selling. So putting them on the never list is just, it's fluff. There's no reason for them to be there because never is never for everyone. Then they also list ingredients that have pretty much been phased out of all cosmetics. Things like coal tar and toluene. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it. It's toluene. Toluene's a nail polish ingredient, and they aren't even selling nail polish. And nail polish brands have pretty much completely cut that out of their products anyway. So there's no reason for these to be on there either. If they added nail polish later, fine, but it just doesn't make any sense right now, especially considering that worldwide, almost all nail polish companies have stopped using this ingredient. Then there comes to the clean beauty ingredients that are demonized, that have no science or very little science pointing any evidence toward that these are harmful. Things like parabens, SLES, SLS, PEGs, fragrance, retinol derivatives. Yes, some people may have allergic reactions, but as far as them being harmful to the general public, there is no evidence that they are. You got a little study here and a little study there that say that maybe in obnoxious concentrations not used in cosmetics, there could be some harm, but in this kind of case, there's no harm. In short, it's the same clean beauty nonsense as before coming back for Counter. Now let's talk about the juicy bits as far as the MLM structure. Is Counter an MLM? Let's look at their How It Works section of their brand partner page. First, in order to join their movement as a brand partner, you need to apply. Once you are accepted, you get a unique shopping link, which I'm assuming is an affiliate link. It looks like the affiliate link will give you 40% commission for new customers. For returning customers, you get 20%. But they don't tell you that till you get down to the fine print. They kind of make it look like everybody gets 40% off all sales. It's 40%, then 20%. But to be fair, even a 20% affiliate commission is very high. And that leads us to step 2, which is driving their mission forward by sharing your link to drive sales. Then we get to step 3, to build our community by referring people to the brand partner program. And my anti-MLM radar is going boop, boop, boop. We're referring people to the program to build the business. Oh no. But here's the thing. Once you refer, it doesn't look like there's any money earned on the sales of the person you're referring. That's where the pyramid starts coming in. Step 4 is a big one. Quote, earn up to 40% commission on every product shared, plus unlock additional monetary rewards as you help grow the community. So this is where I was like, boop, boop. This might be starting to get a little sketchy. Let's keep going and see if it is sketchy. So the next section is ways to earn, and this is where they get down to the nitty gritty of it. They say there are 4 ways. First, the 40% commission on first-time customers, the 20% on returning customers using the link. This sounds like straight affiliate. But a kicker here might be if the customer doesn't use the affiliate link when they return, the person may not get commission. I don't know if they're using cookies or whatever to like a tracking cookie to make sure that things stay linked. I don't know. But if they have to click it every time, that could mean the rep could lose out on sales if the person forgets to click the link before buying. The second way to earn money is sales bonuses. They're high. If you get $500 in monthly sales, you get a 5% bonus. If you somehow sell $1,500 in cosmetics in a month, you get a 10% bonus. That is a lot of product to sell. Even $500 in a month of product, you have to have like a big customer base, because how fast are people really going through the skincare and makeup products? You're only going to really need to re-up at most, what do you think, like 3 months? months. So you have to have a lot of customers to get a consistent $500 in sales a month, let alone $1,500 in sales, because you don't have your predatory people that you're earning money off of anymore. It's just you. The third way is bringing on new brand partners. You get a $100 bonus for every person you get to sign up, but only if the person sells $250 in products. If they don't, you get nothing. And then the fourth way is that for every 10 people you get to sign up, and those 10 people all sell at least $250, then you get an additional $500. But that is a one-time thing. Once that person, you've got your 10 people all lined up. Once those 10 people have hit their $250, you get your $500, and those people are out of your pyramid. Like they're not there anymore. You have to get 10 more to get another $500. And that's a lot. That's a lot of people. So in that, looking at it, this does not seem like multi-level marketing at all. This is a single level affiliate and referral program, which is fantastic as someone who is anti-MLM like I am. Where people need to stay realistic about this, I feel like if they want to start selling these products, is that the money opportunity when you don't have a downline is cut significantly. And then you think about the hours put in that people have to do in order to get these small bonuses. Is there a return on investment? I would imagine for very few people, there would be a good return on investment for this. Who I feel like this seems to be geared toward is people who already love Beautycounter products, planned on buying Counter products in the future no matter what, and don't mind spending some time sharing their affiliate link and sharing about the products the way that a lot of people do these days. But the time thing, I think that people really need to weigh how much time they're investing in order to get to these bonuses and things, because it just may not be worth it when you could actually have like a job with a guaranteed paycheck that would pay out the same thing. Unless you were just going to do those things anyway, then that makes sense. One thing I do really like is that there is no upfront fee to join the affiliate program to get these referral rewards. There's no monthly payment that you have to make. And I love that. But in an interview, Greg Renfrew, who is the owner and CEO of Counter, said that there may be a fee in the future, which that would be a huge red flag for me as far as this as a business structure as a whole. But it being free, I think that is a really, really good thing for people who maybe want to earn a couple dollars on the side. Final verdict. I hate the clean beauty aspect, but very glad they're not going the multi-level marketing route. I can see it possibly getting predatory in the future, but I don't see that as of now, as long as the people who join this program manage their expectations.
You're probably well aware that regulation of social media for kids varies by country. And in different countries, there's a lot of discussion of how much should the government be involved in regulating content for kids under 16 and how much is their parents' responsibility. And this is a big discussion right now in Australia. So the E-Safety Commissioner of Australia has called for YouTube to be included in the country's upcoming ban on social media access for users under 16. And the reason why this is a big deal is because previously YouTube had an exemption because there's so much educational content on YouTube. According to Global Cosmetics News, Julie Inman Grant, she's the head of the E-Safety Commission, she issued a formal recommendation to the Minister for Communications to remove YouTube's exemption from the social media minimum age rules. That's going to take place in December. The law requires platforms to prevent children under 16 from creating accounts or face fines up to Australian $50 million. That's $32.4 million USD. Why is this happening? Why are they demanding that YouTube be added to this? This is so interesting. New survey data from 2,600 children aged 10 to 15 said that YouTube was both the most widely used and most frequently cited source of harmful content among youth in Australia. That's surpassing TikTok, TikTok was the reason why all of this started, but they're finding out that kids are finding even more harmful stuff on YouTube. It is important to remember that they're not talking about a ban on YouTube altogether. They just want to stop kids from having accounts so that they can't have subscriptions. They won't have content personalization. They won't be able to leave comments or read comments possibly. It just says comments. So I don't know if it's both or just one or the other. And the commission is also saying that no social media platform should have exemptions because all the platforms are constantly evolving. And when you give someone an exemption, then they can start doing some stuff that the commission doesn't like. And because they have an exemption, the government can't do anything about it. So they're saying nobody should have an exemption. But I'm really curious how this is going to shake out because, of course, there are a lot of beauty viewers all over the world and in Australia, of course. So I'm really curious how this is going to work out for the youngest viewers of beauty content in Australia. Speaking of social media, we've been talking about this. We talked about it in live chat last week. Do you trust influencers on a scale of 1 to 10? So for me, I feel like it's very individual influencer dependent, but on the whole, no, I don't trust influencers, specifically ones I don't know. Ones that I haven't been watching for a long time, ones that I don't know personally. No, I absolutely don't trust influencers, but I do trust the people that I've been watching a long time and the people that I have, earned my trust over the years. And it doesn't hurt that I've met a lot of influencers over the years and I know which ones are good ones. Y'all know the ones, y'all know the good ones. I'll leave a few of them down below for you, but y'all know the good ones. When I was thinking about this question, as I was preparing to film this, I was like thinking about how different it is now versus the way I used to feel even back in like 2018, even 2020. I used to trust influencers a lot more, influencers that I didn't know a lot more than I do now. And we talk about this all the time because it seems like, especially on short form social media, it's a lot of salespeople, a lot of people just coming in. This is the most amazing life-changing product, blah, 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 and it's over. And you don't see the results. There's no more wear tests. There's no more favorites and fails from months before. It's just fast, quick reviews. So when I read the results of this Better Business Bureau report on people's confidence in social media influencers, I was not surprised at all. I don't think you're going to be surprised either. This stat did kind of surprise me though. More than half of the people that they surveyed said that they have purchased beauty products based on influencer recommendations, but only 5% completely trust influencer content. And in contrast, 87% of customers surveyed said that they trust general advertising directly from the brand, which is wild to me. The measurement they use is called the Influencer Trust Index, and they highlighted key indicators of trust like authenticity, honesty, disclosure. And in it, they said that customers said that the industry needs stronger accountability and education as far as disclosure goes. But this other data point they threw out was so weird to me. They said that influencer marketing is a $24 billion industry here in the US, and it is an industry with damaged credibility and weak transparency. Can you imagine how big of an industry it would be if people actually trusted influencers, if it's $24 billion and only 5% fully trust influencers? I originally read this in an article, which will be linked down below, but I went directly to the study and I found something else super, super interesting about the people that they surveyed. So they surveyed over 3,000 people and they asked them, what social medias do you use regularly? And I thought it would be mostly TikTok based on these results, but no. The number one social media that these people they surveyed used was Facebook. And then it all became clear. These are Facebook users. That makes perfect sense to me. 86% of the people surveyed were using Facebook. The second biggest was Instagram at 75%. Third was YouTube coming in at 68%. And TikTok was only 45% of the people that were surveyed were active TikTok users. Another data point that I think you'll find really interesting was the age of the people they surveyed. So consumers aged 25 to 34 were least likely to trust the advertising advertising they see, 40% of them, closely followed by consumers aged 65 and older. 37% of them said that they didn't trust what they were seeing. The report loosely blames the FTC and what we've been talking about ever since the FTC came out with those influencer guidelines that we pretty much knew they were not going to be enforced, and they haven't been enforced. And what the survey found was that people said that if these rules were more enforced and if influencers were better at disclosing their sponsorship, they would be much more likely to trust the industry, which would lead to naturally more sales for brands and more commissions for influencers. 7 out of 10 people said that they don't like when influencers don't disclose brand affiliations. And also 7 out of 10, may have been the same 7, may have been a different 7, also said that influencers partnering with brands in general did not make them less trustworthy. And y'all been telling me this for years. The Better Business Bureau gave advice to brands and influencers, and it was very simple. Increase the transparency, because that will increase the integrity, and the entire influencer marketing ecosystem would be strengthened, fostering long-term success for everybody. And I could not agree more. I still don't get, though, why people buy from someone they don't trust. That I will never understand. I will never get that. For this next segment, I just want to give you a bunch of very short stories, some headlines, just things to keep you in the know of what's going on, some product launches, things like that. So let's start with Glossier's CEO, Kyle Leahy, is stepping down. She was appointed in 2022 following their founder, Emily Weiss, when she left as CEO. And it seems like the reason why is because they're expanding further away from e-commerce and going into more stores, and they want someone else to lead the charge there. Then we have Unilever, and they have purchased dude-focused Dr. Squatch. It is a body care line. Last time we talked about them, they've released that soap with Sydney Sweeney where they included her bath water as one of the ingredients in the soap. They've also done collaborations with SpongeBob SquarePants and Call of Duty, because that's weird. They acquired it from a growth equity firm in order to help the brand expand internationally beyond their major networks of North America and Europe. Terms of the deal were not disclosed, but you know how people talk, right? So they say the brand's sales are understood to be in excess of $400 million, but various reports say that the brand was looking at a $2 billion valuation. We don't know how much they sold for, but probably a lot. Dermalogica has joined the ever-growing list of companies facing class action lawsuits for Made in the USA claims. We did a big piece on that a few weeks ago, where it's not just about like making the products in the USA. It's not about just having the factory and your people and everybody in the USA. It's about the major ingredients of the product also have to be made in the USA. So Dermalogica has joined a bunch of other brands currently getting sued in a class action for that. We've also been following stories about counterfeit cosmetics. This week in the news, it was South Korean police who arrested 4 people, accusing them of distributing over 87,000 counterfeit cosmetics products falsely marketed as genuine items from global brands such as SK-II, Kiehl's, and Estee Lauder. The suspects were led by a wholesaler identified just as Mr. A, operated between April of 2023 to March of 2024, generating criminal profits of approximately 2.1 billion Korean won. That levels out to $1.5 million USD from those counterfeit products, and valued at 7.9 billion Korean won, or $5.7 million USD. So this was a huge operation that just got shut down for counterfeits in South Korea. As far as product launches go, COSRX, the very popular science-backed K-beauty brand, has now launched a hair care line that piggybacks off of their skincare line. Personally, I think this is a super smart move. They have a great reputation. Why not expand into the hair care space? They say that their Peptide 132 hair care collection, it is a 3-step system, is designed to deliver professional level results at home. They say Peptide 132 has been clinically tested to reduce breakage, improve manageability, and restore bounce, softness, and shine, even after just one use. The collection includes a shampoo, a conditioner bonding treatment, and a bonding oil serum suitable for a wide range of hair types, including straight, wavy, and curly textures. In kind of a combo of the last two stories, we have Unilever-owned vitamin brand Olly expanding into a completely different category, the body care line, and it's piggybacking off of their vitamin line. It's called Mood Plus Skin, and they're using the vitamins as the base for the names of the body care line. So they've got washes, scrubs, serums. They say it is vitamin-infused body care. The line's available in 4 mood-enhancing scents backed by neuroscience. There's Calm, which is a eucalyptus amber, Revive, which is neroli dew, Bright, which is a citrus, and Renew, which is jasmine bergamot. Calm and Renew are available in body washes and serums, while Bright and Revive are available in body washes and scrubs. They're also launching intimate care for their Happy Hoo-Ha line. Yes, they have a vitamin called Happy Hoo-Ha, and now they're going to have intimate care called Happy Hoo-Ha. It's a fabulous name, I have to admit. So there's going to be a cleanser and a shave oil underneath that line. Now, I know this next story is going to break your heart. If you were looking forward to the Trippin' with Tarte and Dunkin' pop-ups, they are no longer happening. They announced on Instagram, quote, "We've made the decision to cancel our upcoming customer and creator Tarte and Dunkin' road trip Trippin' with Tarte events. While we won't be hitting the road this time, we're continuing to channel our energy into speaking kindness all summer long with surprise giveaways and special moments for our amazing community, including the winners of our road trip giveaway." And that's all we know. I have a feeling there's more tea here that they're not sharing, but we'll probably never know why they actually canceled it. And then finally, before we get to our lighthearted story, there's 2 big sales that I wanted to tell you about that are coming up. They're annual sales, the Nordstrom anniversary sale from July 12th through August 3rd, and Ulta's summer beauty sale, which runs from June 29th to July 19th with up to 40% off on jumbo hair products, skincare, makeup, and more. You can get a preview of the sale using the link in the video description. And for our lighthearted story of the week, we're talking about a new place to shop for cosmetics. And it's a place that actually cares about science. And I'm a science nerd. I believe in evidence-based skincare, and this is a place that also believes in that. But the cool part about this is this was actually started by a 19-year-old college student who had acne, and he was pissed off because he would try all these heavily marketed acne products and then they wouldn't work. They wouldn't follow through on their promises. And he realized that they weren't science backed, that it was all marketing. So he wanted to set up an e-commerce platform that would only sell science-backed cosmetics. It's called Utopia Beauty, and it was launched by Trey Agliano. He is a student at Syracuse University, and he is studying marketing and entrepreneurship. The site launched on May 31st and now sells 50 products from 13 beauty brands that cross skincare, makeup, hair care, body, and wellness. And the big requirement for being on the site is that they are backed by clinical studies. Products with unsubstantiated marketing claims are not allowed on the site. Customers can find a tab called The Science on every product page where you can go and read the study for yourself. The brands sold on the site include Canopy, Geology, Caftari, Verify, Noon, Trunk, Ramelia Hair, and Eye on Skincare. In an interview with Beauty Independent, Trey told them, quote, "These brands and retailers can say just about anything they want about a product." So I was like, okay, I'm creating a space for brands that aren't afraid to show their work, where everything else has clinical studies. Brands with biotechnology-derived ingredients are prioritized for sale on the website, and straightforward marketing language is encouraged. It is important to note that this is a startup company by a college student, so right now, he's the one looking at the scientific studies. He does have his biology professors helping him look at the studies, but no cosmetic chemists as of now looking at the studies to see how good are the studies. But really, you got to start somewhere, right? And that is the intent. The intent is to eventually hire people that have the specialized training in these areas. Personally, I love this concept more than I can express, even if it isn't perfect at startup. The idea idea of it is fantastic. And I love that it's being done by somebody so young. He's already tapped into the problems in our cosmetic industry, and it's a fantastic idea. So congratulations to Trey. I hope you do so well with this. And that, my friend, was what's up in makeup this week. Thank you so much for watching. And of course, as always, thank you to the What's Up in Makeup Facebook hunters. Their names are scrolling below me. Thank you for all of your submissions this week. I appreciate you so very much. Our live chat today will be at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Hopefully you can join us. We're gonna be hanging out live, but if you can't, it is no problem. Very easy to find on the replay. Go to my channel page, live tab, they're right there. Or if you're already subscribed, it should just be hanging out in your subscription feed. Very easy to find. And if you are not already subscribed, why you watched to this point, so you like the content, so just go ahead and subscribe. It'll put my videos right into your subscription feed, and also it makes me look really cool. Like when my number goes up, it makes me look good. So hit the subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. And yeah, I'll be back next week for another episode of What's Up in Makeup. But if you would like to watch another video right now, YouTube should be recommending a couple videos for you over here to watch. The bottom one is last week's episode of What's Up in Makeup. In case you missed it, the top one is one YouTube's going to pick for you based on what you've been watching on YouTube lately. But if you need to go because you got stuff to do, I'll get it. It is no problem. Thank you for hanging out as long as you did. And mad love to you. I will see you in a video very soon.